This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, August 16th, 2010, and this is episode 760 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. And Mike, I gotta say, I enjoyed the great deal of Star Tours and Star Wars programming that I found on Mouse World Radio over the weekend. I'm going to petition to knock out that silly show Illuminations at 8, 9 o'clock and replace the Star Wars music. What do you think?
You know, as much as I'm on board with that, I think we'd get a little bit of a complaint from, you know.
Don't worry about Janine. She's a pushover.
I'm not worried about her. Bring it on, Janine.
Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, please tell me you're not one of those people that are watching those preseason football games and getting excited over it.
It's been great weather we're having here, Matt, isn't it? It's been absolutely
just snaps by like fourth stringers. Come on.
Last night I was like at 7:21. I was over at my sister's house where she's in a little party. I'm like, hey, did you get the NFL Network? What do you mean you don't get the NFL Network? well, what's the phone number for your cable company? I was checking my iPhone for the Pittsburgh Steelers scores so often I actually ran out of battery within like 3 hours.
Oh God.
Whatever. It's America's game. Always remember that.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
We had another situation here at the Galactic Federation Bakery.
Bakery.
Yeah, my inclination was Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin, but I'm rethinking that.
At the bakery. Say it again, Matt? Or Mike?
We had another situation here at the Galactic Federation Bakery.
Tomorrowland Transit Authority.
Nope.
Alien Encounter?
Anti-gravities.
Nope.
Am I in the right land?
Yes.
Tomorrowland Speedway.
Nope.
I give up.
Alien Encounter.
Well, that's what I thought it was, but it's from what I understand, it's the pre-show for Stitch's Great Escape, Lieutenant Sludge.
I'll take your word for it since I haven't been on that in quite a while. But on today's show, we're talking about the Walt Disney World ticket price increase that was implemented back on August 5th, so a couple days ago. Also Disneyland as well, but obviously we're talking about Walt Disney World. And there were some, I'll just quickly have some basic information that mousesavers.com provided. Walt Disney World base tickets went up $3 to $21 on adult tickets, $5 to $31 on kids tickets. And some highlights are the Park Hopper option went up $54 plus tax. Went up to $54 plus tax. It was $52 previously. The Water Park Fun and More option went up to $54 plus tax. It was $52. And the no expiration option jumped by a huge amount on some tickets. It now costs an extra $15.98 on a 4-day ticket, an extra $23.43 on a 5-day or 6-day ticket, and an extra $31.95 on 8-day and 9-day tickets. Adding the no expiration option to a 10-day ticket now costs $226.85. Wow. So actually, this topic was brought up. Mike Scopa, you kind of brought this up here. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this and what was some of your observations from this price increase.
Well, one of the things that I keep thinking about when I see these price increases is that what does it take sometimes to convince someone that they really need to look very carefully as to how they see their vacation, exactly how many days they're going to use, how many days they're going to go down in the course of a year, and whether or not the price of an annual pass is becoming more and more justifiable, more and more appealing. Because when I look at something like, I believe I don't know if it was the 7 or a 10-day, I think it was a 7-day non-expiration Park Hopper pass. It actually was only $17 less than what I paid for my annual pass renewal. So what I'm thinking, Matt, is that every time I see these increases, it seems to me, and I'm sure Len would have better numbers than I, but I'm guessing that the increases for the Magic Your Way options, Magic Your Way passes, are somewhat greater than the increases for the annual passes. So I just think that more and more it makes you think, it should make everybody think more carefully about exactly what their vacation is going to be like, and that option that we constantly talk about, and that is the annual pass.
What?
The thing that amazes me is the rate of increase of these things relative to inflation. So let me give you some summaries here. On average, the average adult ticket, looking at all the different options, so like a 1-day base ticket through a 10-day Magic Your Way, Water Park, Fun and More, no expiration hopper, right?
Right.
On average, adult tickets went up 9.6%. Child tickets went up 5.4%. Hopper tickets for adults went up 9.4%. Children 5.3%. Pretty much the same for no expirations. Although the no expiration for kids went up more. And if you look at where the bulk of the increases come from, the bulk of the increases come from in the 4, 5, 6, and 7-day tickets. So, for example, you want a 6-day base ticket with no expiration, went up 13.1% for kids. You want a 5-day for kids, 11%, right?
Right.
For a 5-day base ticket with no expiration for kids, 13.3%. The thing that is curious to me, right? So you put in that, so that's like 9.5%, 5.5%. Here's what every other consumer price in the United States has done since July of 2009. The average increase is 1%, 0%, negative 0.2%, negative 0.1%, and 0.3%. Inflation is essentially zero in the United States right now.
Yeah, aren't we like kind of like almost nearing deflation at this point?
So some people will argue we're on the cusp of deflation right now. We talked about this previously. So the fact that prices aren't going up, right? Prices for labor, prices for raw materials are not going up in the United States. Disney's cost to do business is not going up, right?
Right.
And for most Americans, their wages aren't going up. So if the costs to Disney aren't going up and their consumers' paychecks aren't going up, how do you justify a 10% increase for adults?
Well, this reminds me, Len, of
I know it's supply and demand, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, we did an episode a long time ago, like I'm talking like 2006, maybe 2007. We had Mary Waring from MouseSavers.com on, and this is an annual thing, by the way. It happens every August. The price tickets go up. And, I said, I kind of, was saying some of the things that you were saying, like how do they justify this? And, it was, and I remember that it was a big argument that this is, it's supply and demand. This is the company. I mean, Disney is, I don't think anyone would argue, is the preeminent leader in theme park entertainment.
They do, and it is supply and demand, and I totally understand that. Yeah. And the fact that they're getting still very solid numbers in their theme parks, right? Right.
Well, here's the thing, Len. Now, this is why I'm saying these. You're right. All that is right. But let's look at the recent quarterly earnings statements that Disney did for the second quarter of this year, and their theme park attendance was actually down 2%.
It was, and their future demand, again, there's some adjusting there for the calendar, but they're down 9%, and that's a little bit of that's because there was an extra week in December last year that they don't have this year in their quarters. But still, right, demand is down. Looking out, the interesting thing about hotels right now, people are so used to discounts for Disney's hotels that Disney's pretty much stuck in the box of having to discount them all the time. I mean, if you notice, except for peak times, you can either get free dining or at least a 25% discount or a gift card on any Disney hotel pretty much any day of the year. Which means really, right, the prices, their rack rates are really somewhere between 25 and 40% too high to reach their levels, the goal of their level of occupancy.
Yeah, no, you're right, because I mean look at it this way: the Waldorf Astoria, which was just built it's on the Bonnet Creek area. I mean, the base room is $200 a night, and you can get $200 a night. You're looking at the moderate resorts in many cases, and there's no comparison between the two.
Oh no, we've done a show on the Waldorf Astoria. I think the bathroom in the Waldorf Astoria is better than the Pop Century. I mean, I would seriously, I think I would rather stay in the bathroom at the Waldorf Astoria than at a regular room in the Pop Century.
Well, I want to get back to the tickets, Lonnie. Here's the question: they raised the ticket prices, and that's totally their prerogative. They can do that. This is the question that's raised: has Disney gone too far this time with their ticket price increase?
So, the typical vacation is like the sweet spot for ticket sales is like 5-day tickets, right? Mm-hmm. So a 5-day base ticket right now is $250 for adults and $227 for kids. That's an increase of 3.9% for adults and 9.7% for kids. and let's assume that you're not going to get the no expiration option. That means you want to bring mom, dad, and the twins Timmy and Terry to Walt Disney World. You're looking at $1,000 to get in the door.
Yep. Yeah, and before airfare.
Before airfare, before food, before hotel.
Yeah.
$1,000. Now my question is, for $1,000, what else could you do? I think they're. I don't think yet they're at the point where the ticket prices are gonna cause people to not to go. But you can see where that day is coming. Like before, that day was really so far on the horizon that there's no point in looking. Now you're like, hey, there's that thing on the horizon. We should avoid that because it looks to be bigger than we thought before.
I think when it gets to $100 a day for a base ticket, I think that's when that threshold is reached.
Yeah. What are your Scopa? Do you think that the ticket price increase this year, have they gone too far? I mean, bad economy still, certainly no guarantee that we're even coming out of it.
I really thought that there would not be there would be no increase. I
thought it'd be marginal. I thought it'd be a couple percent.
Well, August 1st came and it was a Sunday, and and nothing happened. I thought, okay, so maybe nothing's going to happen. And just a couple of days later, I really thought that there would be either no increase, or B, there would be something like a 90-day delay in the increase. I figured that they would probably hit everybody with an increase right around October 1st for obvious reasons, but instead it happened. So I was really surprised, Matt, and I really think that it's uncalled for. I don't recall Universal Studios raising their prices recently. I haven't been paying that attention.
They did.
Oh, they
both
did?
SeaWorld and Universal both raised their prices about a week later.
Yeah. So the question is, so SeaWorld and Universal, are they reactive to whatever Disney does?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be perceived as a less value. Let me ask Newell, what do you think about that? Disney gone too far with the price increase?
Considering I'm not getting that kind of a raise anytime soon, yeah. But I buy the AP, so I'm not really. It's not as affecting me.
We all buy APs, yeah.
I buy AP, and it's just the two of us. So for Mary and myself, with the DVC discount, it really doesn't affect us as much. But the casual family of four, the average family, it's going to really hurt them, I think.
So I'm doing a little bit of forecasting. Mm-hmm. And so the next, let's see, 2011, 2012, 13, 14, in the year 2014. So if you've got kids that are just entering high school now, by the time they graduate high school, if Disney keeps their current price increase averages, 3.8% for the base adult ticket, by the time those kids get out of high school in 2014, it'll be $102 to get in the door at Walt Disney World for one day. So at the current rate that they're increasing prices, 4 years from today, we'll be having the same conversation saying, it's $100 to get into Walt Disney World. What the heck's going on here?
And $200 to park pop.
And that's assuming that it's only a 4% increase. Now, the average adult ticket has increased by, again, 9.6%. They kind of kept that at the low end. They kind of kept it lower at the low end. But if you say it's 9.6%, just for the sake of argument, then it actually gets to $100 2012 in 2 years. Which is when the world is supposed to end anyway, so I guess really that kind of
so it doesn't matter.
Makes sense.
Hey, let me throw this question out there: with an increase to the admission to the parks, what takes a hit because of that?
Merchandise and food in rooms. So merchandise, food, and rooms. So I talked to Jim Hill this weekend.
In that order, Lynn?
Oh, by the way, so if you look at the discounts that came out today, Mike, there's a gift card offer in one of the discounts. And the discount for the gift card is because people aren't buying merchandise in the parks.
Okay.
So I think that the things that take a hit are merch, dining, which I still can't believe dining is as popular as it is. I think it's because people's hunger override every other sense of judgment they have, and then resorts.
Yeah, and the merchandise is the problem with merchandise is compounded by the fact that everything is the same everywhere. It's not like you go anywhere and you see unique merchandise like, ooh, that's something I haven't seen before.
I have to have that.
It sounds like it's in that order because you don't need merchandise. You do need to eat. You do need to sleep.
But you don't need to sleep on site. And generally speaking, people aren't going to leave the park to eat. So the things that are expendable are merchandise, staying at a Disney resort, and food.
Yeah, good point. I got actually an email from one of our listeners, David Matibus of Waltham, Massachusetts, who's Trisec on the boards. Hoorah! Writes, I'm rather saddened to see yet another price increase at the most expensive place on earth.
That's good.
It's now $82 per person per day. I have an old guidebook from '07, and the price quoted for the year was $63. That's a 10% increase per year. For me, to head back down with wife and child in tow would mean a $238 per day tariff just to step inside the gates. Put another way, that would translate to an annual salary of $61,880 just to afford one day at that rate. A minimum wage worker would have to work almost a full week or 32.8 hours just to pay off that one-day visit for the same 3 persons. Due to the recession, I'm forced to postpone indefinitely a trip we were planning for 2011. Just extrapolating at the current 10% increase per annum, we're
Holy
rapidly
cow.
priced out of the park. So the question to the assembled is this. Do you think Disney experience is worth the price? I suppose Disney knows that what it's doing. At this rate, they'll rapidly price themselves out of the reach of most Americans. As a secondary to the above question, have any of you long-term frequent visitors noticed any decline in the number of visitors during the recent recession? How does this compare to the recessions you may have experienced in the past?
So I think Matt, you said earlier that Disney's attendance was down 2%. The thing is, if their attendance is down 2%, right, but they increase the park tickets more than that, their revenue still goes up, and they are a publicly traded company, and I'm a stockholder, so they still net out okay. The thing that concerns me about the price increases, the ticket price increases, is the same thing that Mike said about the resort increases. They've priced their resorts so high that it became unrealistic for most people, and now they have to discount it 25%, right, at minimum. So there's always a discount available at some Disney resort, which means the prices that they set aren't realistic. And my concern with that is that it's difficult for them to either raise revenue to put new things in the resort to justify those costs, or to actually increase the prices. So if you're a shareholder, right, it's great if they can temporarily get 25% above market for the rates, but that's not sustainable, right? And then the problem is once people get used to staying off site, it's going to be hard for them to go back on site, right? If you find an $80 a night hotel outside of Walt Disney World, like the Buena Vista Palace, right, and it does everything you want a hotel to do and more, why would you go back to paying $160 a night?
The amenities that Disney offers: on-site transportation, Magical Express, convenience.
And so that's it. So the thing that I hear
Extra
from
magic hours. Yeah.
the thing I hear from most people is it's not the extra magic hours, it's the transportation.
Yeah, convenience. It's the same reason people use the dining plan all the time, because they like the convenience of it. You know what I mean?
I think at some point enough people will sit down and do the math that it's going to be a problem for them. And it doesn't need to be everyone sitting down to do the math. It needs to be 10% of the population sitting down with a spreadsheet and saying, what else can I do for $1,000? You know, what else can I do that for $2,000 in 5 days?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously people listening to this show are active, enthusiastic Walt Disney World fans. I mean, you're not listening to this show if you don't really like the product. You've been to Walt Disney World a couple times and, you really like it. So obviously the people we're speaking to that hear our voice more than likely are the type of people who shrug it off and say, it's okay, I still love Disney World, I'm going to go back because, we love it. More than likely that's going to be the response.
Yeah.
And the question really, though, is for the other people, has this increase, do people look at this, like you just said, Len, and look at the prices? How much is it for us to go here? And then they look at the price for Myrtle Beach or, some other destination. And, maybe I think the problem is much bigger this year than in previous years, especially because of the state of the economy and everything. This isn't 2005. This isn't 2004. This isn't, any of those years where, prices were going up, but hey, times were good. You know what I mean? People was like, it was a great time. So
People have the money, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's interesting that they could do this and command it. And, again, it goes to that question though, are people going to say that 10% increase or whatever the percent is that too much? Is that enough to put people to say, forget about it, the whole thing?
So does this hurt more the potential first-time visitor or the repeat, or the person who's been there before?
That's a great question. Because I think the first-time visitor, Mike,
They don't know. Yeah, go
they
ahead.
don't know, and they want to make it because you know what I mean. It's like I have family who's never been before, and they're having their first kids, and they want to go because that's what you do with to them. It's like you got to bring your kids to Disney World at some point. You know what I mean? it's like a necessity. It's like visiting Washington, D.C. and going to Disney World. You know? You just got to do it at some point.
Tetanus shots, visit Walt Disney World. You know, you got to do it.
But the Scopy bringing a good question. What about the people that have been to Walt Disney World before? Maybe it was like, 2-3 years ago, and then they're thinking about it again. Does that affect their decision?
I think that's what happens, because I think that we've all been there. Well, some of us been there for visiting for about 30 years, and we see the value go up and down. We see things come and go. We can assess more so how our Disney dollar is being spent, and whether its value has declined or at least remained steady. And I think, we're in a better position than those people who have never been and who don't have anything to put a stake in the ground and say, okay, a frame of reference, I should say. So I think it hurts those who have been going and who are thinking about going back.
What about you, Newell? What's your thoughts on this? I mean, do you foresee like your family's probably the closest that I know of that are in the category of like what we would consider to be the average Walt Disney World visitor. Like, maybe not your mom, but certainly your brothers, and their family. Where do you see their decision? I mean, if you could read their mind, I mean, do these kind of price increases matter to them, or is it just a part of the game?
It does matter. It matters to everyone. Not going to lie, but the fact that, Uncle Michael has DVC and Uncle Michael's going to put them up at DVC, it's not going to hurt as much as if they were going and, booking a trip on their own and getting a hotel and all that. It's not going to, affect them as much. But I think the average family, I would think twice.
It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, like I said, it's not like Disney World's attendance is going to drop, 20% this year because people are going to say, forget about it. But it's going to be interesting to see how their numbers progress through the next couple of quarterly reports that they make. And, because the theme parks, when the recession first hit, I remember like their movie aspects, the division, that took a hit, television took a hit, but the parks were always the strong part. And now it's kind of this past quarter, it was the reverse. It was everything else was great except for the theme parks, which took a hit.
I don't know. July was awfully packed.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I mean, and the other thing, and then you have the whole philosophical debate, which is obviously the movies. I mean, that those are made to make money and everything like that. But then you had Walt, who created the parks. He's famously quoted, he wanted to have a place for his where his daughter and he, the adults and the children, could enjoy it together. It wasn't like, I had this great idea to make a lot of money on a theme park venue and totally, revolutionize the whole industry. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? So you have that whole argument, which we don't have time to go into. But Wes, thoughts, Len? Closing thoughts on this?
I mean, again, I think Disney's a business just like everything else. By putting it in dollar terms, they masked the size of the increase in percentage terms. And when you look at it compared to the consumer price index, what real Americans are paying for things every day and what they're earning every day, it's really out of the ordinary. My concern is the shareholders that they're just pricing themselves out of the market. But we'll see. I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know where the edge is until you fall off it. So,
well said. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW website at WDWtoday.com. Don't forget to come join us for a reunion. That's right, Reunion 2010. It's a fan gathering, and certainly you who are listening are invited to it. Just go to reunion.WDWtoday.com for all the details. And, there's lots of people who are going to be joining us for that, and we want you to be part of the fun as well. So check that out. And also want to remind all of our listeners, our next live show is on Sunday, August 29th, 2010 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Details at WDWtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.